Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Neglected by Family and Became the King of Chaos movie. Before we start, please go support IsseiOmniversalCaos for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken characters' gender, but of course Issei is a male. Prologue. Issei, the King of Chaos. Titan Killer. God Demon. Angel of the Apocalypse. Dragon God of Chaos. The God of Destruction. Those were the titles given to Issei for his immense power that far surpassed all supernatural races. No one dared to challenge him. He humiliated gods like Indra, Ares, Hades, Loki, Cadres, dragons, and other beings with his immense power of chaos, which was 1,000 times stronger than Trihexa itself. Issei was formerly considered a disgrace by the Hyoudou family because he came from a very well-known family in both the human and supernatural worlds. Their sons, who were their pride, were Isaac Hyoudou, the wielder of Drag. Issei Hyoudou, Tiamat wielder. Akita Hyoudou, Fafnir bearer. Those were the names of Issei's older brothers. Because they possessed sacred gear, they believed themselves superior, but Issei was superior to them. The reason? Simple. Beings of great power. For example, Cath Palug, a terrifying being from another world and another timeline, gave him all his power of chaos. Another was Lucifer, a yellow triangle. Along with his brothers, they gave him their powers so he could do whatever he wanted. And another thing. Issei carried a dragon of immense power that even those same beings feared because of its great destructive power. This dragon was called Bahamut. Before Issei gained all that power, his family beat and tortured him, believing he would never be like his brothers. But after so many years of suffering, he decided to leave the house, or rather, the mansion. There, almost no one spoke to him with respect. All the butlers, maids, and guards looked at him with disgust and mocked him behind his back, but they only gave him more power. Bahamut had already manifested before Issei planned to leave and told him that hatred and resentment, among other things, were what gave him even more power than before. Issei bought a house that cost 30,000 yen, and with so much money in gold because Bahamut had told him he possessed his own gold, worth far more than that of the other dragons, he began to acquire even more. In his dreams, Issei saw beings of great power, such as Cath Palug and Lucifer, along with his brothers Whill and Phill, who gave their power to Issei so that he could become a powerful being, more powerful than anyone else. Issei went directly to Purgatory, a place where time is distorted. Inside, it's 100 years, and outside, 1 minute. Issei entered, and in Purgatory, there was nothing but destruction. There, he trained for over 1,000 years and learned to master his chaos power and the power of the supreme demons. Bahamut taught him many things to become stronger, and one of them was to sacrifice something. So he sacrificed his heart, thus becoming a pure dragon, but a very powerful one. Issei felt increasingly powerful. Bahamut was one so enormous and powerful that all beings feared him, for his size was indescribable. They said he was over 40 trillion kilometers tall and 900 trillion kilometers long, surpassing any living being. He was created by the great universal God, who died and gave him all his power to bring balance, for where evil exists, good will always exist to defeat it. And that good was Helios, a dragon the same size as Bahamut, and they began a battle. Gigantic. The 100 billion universes out of the 900 billion that existed managed to survive the battle because, being beings of immense power, the universes could not withstand so much power from them, and Bahamut absorbed all the energy of the destroyed universes and defeated Helios, who sealed himself away and went in search of a worthy host. The gods, not gods of destruction, but others who served Bahamut and Helios, began their work of maintaining the balance of the universes. Years later, Issei was still a child, but he began to show dragon-like characteristics. First, scales appeared on his arms, then wings grew large and long, then horns appeared, 4 horns grew on him, and finally his eyes became reptilian, black with red pupils. At 6,000 years old, Issei mastered 100% of the power of chaos from Cath, becoming a power of infinite destruction. At 48,000 years old, I mastered Bill's power, controlling it perfectly, as well as being able to control time, space, and matter. At 114,000 years old, I mastered the power of Whill. At 126,000 years old, I mastered the power of Phill. And the remaining 8,346,000 years were the time he trained with Bahamut's power. He was also able to fuse his powers into one, reaching balance breaker in a very short time and maintaining it for over 300 years without expending any energy. He reached many armor stages thanks to his training. His body was somewhat well endowed, with some muscle in his arms and pectoral muscles, though not as much. Issei saw water that granted him even more power, dark water that gave incredible strength, malevolent power, and, of course, immortality. It was an immortality that surpassed anyone else's because he could cut off his arm and it would regenerate in a millisecond. Issei was, so to speak, a demon dragon, being incredibly powerful. Despite not having as much muscle mass as other beings, he attempted something. With a powerful blow from a rock, it was turned to dust, and not only that, beyond it, an immense gap could be seen caused by Issei's blow, who held back because if he went too far, he didn't know what would happen. Issei created his own sword from a mineral that was more resistant than any other. It could withstand all the heat of the sun, the explosion of a planet, a supernova, among other things, making it the most resistant sword in existence. He would only use it in emergencies, and he could also channel some of his power into it. After being in purgatory for so long, Issei finally left and ate everything he had bought when he purchased the house. It's worth mentioning that he built the house in a forest so he could enjoy the scenery and find some peace. In the novel, he had 600 million yen in cash, and since he has so much money, well, with magic. He ate everything he bought, but luckily he had more food stored downstairs, enough to survive for over 40,000 years. If something happened to that food, it could last for 200 people. The mansion had everything. A training room, 3 swimming pools, 2 hot springs, an elegant living room, and 20 or 30 bedrooms in case he invited someone to stay. He lacked nothing. But his hair changed after he sacrificed his heart. Part of it was brown, the other part black with red streaks. He could control his dragon side and hid his scales, and his eyes returned to what they were before, but now they were red. He found out that his brothers had gone to train with a spoiled Gremory girl so that he could become stronger alongside his family, so he went to school during the time they were gone. Issei was the smartest in the entire class. Having all the knowledge of Phill and his brothers in his head made him even more intelligent than before. Issei had made a promise to a friend that when he returned from Italy, they would get married and live happily ever after, though perhaps he would have to share it someday. Issei perfectly concealed his power to avoid suspicion. Every day he went to school, but on Saturdays and Sundays, he went to purgatory, where he would be inside for 17,280,000 years and only out for 2 days. During that time, he trained even harder than before, but he had a limit, so he didn't push himself too far. If he managed to attain a new power, something those who granted him the power never achieved, he would be the Lord and King of everything. He would be considered the great god King of Chaos. Chapter 1. 6 years have passed and Issei is currently 13 years old, but he was actually older because he altered time in purgatory, so now 1000 years would be inside and only 1 minute outside. Currently, Issei is actually over 95,042,000 years old, as his training was more than sufficient. During his time outside, he felt very lonely, so he visited dragon territory and rescued a girl of about 12 years old. She possessed power comparable to that of a celestial dragon, but she also had demonic traits, so he knew she was half demon and half dragon. Issei healed her and gave her 0.03% of his power. With that, her power was superior to that of the celestial dragons and even Shiva. If you're wondering how powerful Issei is, well, he is capable of destroying the world just by sensing a bit of his power, but currently, there was no one who could stand against him. The girl thanked Issei for saving her, so she became his personal servant. Issei didn't need evil pieces to make her his queen because she was superior to Grayfia. Being half demon and half dragon made her stronger. Her power was one of destruction, fire, and ice. The destructive power was perhaps due to a member of the Bale clan impregnating the dragon while she was in her human form, but her destructive power was superior to Sirzechs. Issei trained her in purgatory, where she remained for 200 years. When they emerged, she exuded a powerful aura, superior to that of a supreme-class demon or a Mao of the underworld. Issei named her Polaris, and she was currently 214 years old, but she had the appearance of a 14-year-old girl, and her voice was still almost childlike. Issei created a weapon for Polaris to train with. She trained and demonstrated various abilities before Issei, even without any clothes on. Issei didn't mind seeing her naked because he would erase those moments from his mind afterward. However, she couldn't erase those moments from her mind. Every time Issei saw her naked while she performed the stances he taught her using magic, swords, and spears, she was still perfect for herself. Even though she didn't have a particularly large body, she was perfect for herself, and perhaps at some point they could fall in love with each other because she had been with Issei for many years. Issei taught him many magical skills, such as cancelling magic, hiding his presence, flying, and other things. As the years passed, Issei left school and decided to go to Caoos Academy because he was extremely intelligent. Issei killed rogue demons, and the souls of all the people who died because of them were taken to a place he called the Garden of Chaos, a peaceful place where Issei only sent people with good hearts, and those who were not were taken to purgatory. Issei had killed 600 rogue demons in these years. He didn't use his chaos or dragon power, only human strength, which killed them very quickly with a simple blow or touch. The demons launched attacks of great power, but that wouldn't harm the King of Chaos, who was extremely powerful. Issei knew that there were more versions of Cath and the cut ones. They surely took the path of destruction. In these years, he encountered 6 versions of Cath, each more powerful than the other, but Issei devoured them and obtained more chaos power, and thus his power evolved further. In addition, the sacred gear, which also evolved, was stronger than before. She shared power with Polaris so that she would be stronger than before, and that's what she achieved. She was truly powerful, at the level of the god Indra. Issei created a version of Cath, but as a 5-meter-tall guardian animal. Its power was overwhelming. It was one of the strongest beasts of destruction in the DxD world. He also knew about the fallen angels and other things, but they were nothing against him, for he was truly powerful. Once he encountered a woman with blue hair and a good figure who tried to kill him, but when she threw a spear, it was destroyed upon contact with him, and Issei devoured it and acquired another power, which was angelic power, and he had 4 large wings. The renegade demons knew him as the Angel of Death and Chaos. Polaris slept in the same bed as Issei because she loved her master very much. Sometimes he would find her sleeping hugging his right or left arm, but nowadays he would find her asleep in the most surprising way. Issei was waking up, but when he tried to stand up he felt a weight on his chest, so he removed the sheets and saw Polaris asleep on his chest with a sweet smile, but the most surprising thing was that she was sleeping in white underwear, something that made Issei blush a lot. But to him she was beautiful up close, and with that smile, Issei gently stroked her cheek, and that woke her up. Issei. I'm sorry. Polaris. Don't apologize, Issei-sama. I love waking up next to you. Polaris leaned a little more towards Issei, who was only stroking her hair, but she felt his pectoral muscles, not very developed, but in reality he was very strong without having much muscle, because with a single shockwave, he was able to make an entire mountain or a city disappear. Polaris. I received a report yesterday that he was accepted into CAOS Academy, just like me. Issei. That makes me very happy. Polaris. Are you sure you want to go? Don't forget your brothers are there too. Issei. Calm down, Polaris. They're not my brothers anymore. The Hyoudou bloodline was erased when the power of chaos and dragon entered my body, and thanks to Bahamut, I'm now a pure dragon. I don't care about the title of Supreme Dragon God of Chaos and Apocalypse. All I care about is peace between the 3 races to protect the humans of this world. Besides, according to my informant, that spoiled Rias Gremory is being forced into a marriage with a high-class demon named Razor Phoenix, and from what I understand, she has the Phoenix's regeneration. But I'm also immortal, and we even have the 5 legendary phoenixes on our side, the primordial phoenixes who are capable of defeating a celestial dragon without much effort. The Ice Phoenix. The Fire Phoenix. The Blue Fire Phoenix. The Phoenix of Death, and of course lastly, the Phoenix of the Apocalypse, or the Dark One. These were the 5 strongest phoenixes. All of these were, so to speak, relatives of Issei, since he rescued them years ago and had been taking care of them for a long time, but he noticed that they acted strangely, as if they were not ordinary phoenixes. Until Issei discovered that these 5 phoenixes had human forms, when they appeared before him, he was surprised because they were all girls with the height and bodies of Lawless. Issei named them. The Fire Phoenix Urza. The Ice Phoenix Elsa. The Blue Fire Phoenix Hinata. The Death Phoenix Clara. And finally, the Apocalypse Phoenix Lucy. These girls swore to be loyal to Issei and live with him. Issei knew that one day he would have to reunite with his siblings, but after everything that had happened, he didn't want to return, but he had no choice. Issei. Alright, if I go, I just hope you don't cause any trouble. If you don't, I'll take you to the abyss of Tartarus. I'll be in purgatory for about 100 million years. That will help me overcome the power of chaos and the others. Outside, it will only be 10 minutes, that will be enough. Don't worry about food, I'll eat the creatures there. Issei entered purgatory and the door closed. Several hours passed, and Polaris was impressed that his master had decided to train more, but he liked that, and that was his goal. To be with his lord and king of chaos. Very soon he will be known everywhere as the supreme god of chaos. The girls who will not be in Issei's harem will be Rias, Asia, Kuoh, Keno, Zenobia, Irina. Which girls from the Sitri entourage do you want to join Issei's harem? To the end. Tsubaki, Raja, Type, Haruko, Tomo, Ira. Which girls from Phoenix's entourage do you want to join Issei's harem? Ravel. Count the number. Naiwali. Fishing. Isabella. Sharia. Marion. Urant. Mira. Ubelula. Shulin. Cyrus. Do they want Issei to save them from Riser or just fall in love with him? Which of these girls do you want to be part of the harem? Athena. Aphrodite. Griselda. Gabriel. Seraphol. Roswise. Murayama. Hadis. Time. Office. Tiamat. Prohibition. Nod. Valerie. Valerie, sister of Vali. The Fae. Elmenhilden. Angels. If you want, tell me which other one you want to be part of the harem. This is what Polaris looks like. Chapter 2. It's been 2 days since Issei went to the academy to pick up his papers, but how many years was he inside purgatory? Well, around 3 billion years inside, and he came out with overwhelming power that made Polaris kneel before him in respect. Despite possessing immense power, Issei never forgot what his family had done to him. Now that he had this power, he still felt some hatred and resentment towards them. He only wished to humiliate them as they had humiliated him. The Hyoudou family owned several businesses and earned a huge fortune, but it was nothing compared to Issei's wealth, which consisted of millions of gold coins, including ingots, spheres, cubes, and even diamonds. Issei could change his appearance, so he decided to change his appearance to something eye-catching that would make any girl fall in love with him. Issei and Polaris made their way towards CAOS Academy so that Issei could begin his life as a human, or well, almost human. As Issei walked, every girl in the academy looked at him with hard eyes because he was so cute, and the men looked at Polaris with lust because she was very pretty, and something about Polaris had changed. She had a red lock of hair. Issei was in front of the academy. Issei. I see those idiots turned into demons. Ha, I don't care about that, I can destroy their pride someday. Issei and Polaris ventured into the academy, but someone was watching them. Kaneko. She had been sent by Rias because she sensed their power, although Alan hadn't yet arrived at the academy. Rias thought he might be a new enemy or ally, and if so, she would add him to her entourage. Haha, how stupid of you to think the King of Chaos will join your entourage. With a single wave of his hand, he'll end up with damn menstrual hairs. Kaneko. I have to warn but you. Issei arrived at the principal's door, and there he handed Issei the papers with his signature accepting to be the new student, so he gave him the address of his classroom and his new student papers, so that the teacher would let them in. They arrived at his classroom, and there the teacher told them to wait outside. Professor. You may come in. They both passed by and saw all the second-year students, but Issei noticed his brother Takeda in a corner. Deep in his heart, he began to feel hatred for all the times Takeda had said things to Issei like, without power, you're nothing but a weakling who should have died when he was born, and you're not my brother, you're just a stranger. Issei had admired him, but after abandoning all the love he felt for his family, it vanished, and now he only felt hatred. Issei, my name is Issei Shadow, I am 18 years old, although I am over 4 billion years old, not even more, and she is. Polaris. I'm Polaris Shadow, nice to meet you all. Teacher. You can ask questions. The girl gets up. Girl. Excuse me, why do you both have the same last name? Polaris. That's because he's my fiancé. All the girls were depressed, but there were 2 girls who seemed familiar to Issei, and Issei to them, as if he had known them for a long time. Classes continued until recess, where Issei and Polaris were under a tree. Issei was lying down in Polaris's arms while she gently stroked his hair, but someone arrived and ruined his peace. Kiba. Excuse me, my name is Hyoudou Kiba. My president requires your presence at the occult club. Issei. TSK, that damn Gremory realized Polaris's power and mine, yeah, we're coming. Issei and Polaris went to Kiba's occult club, where they saw all the members, including 2 people Issei didn't want to see. Takeda and Isaac Hyoudou, his former older brothers. Rias. Thank you Kiba for bringing them here. You know the reason, don't you? Issei. No, what's the reason? Rias. We know you're not normal and neither is that girl. I can sense dragon magic in her. I own this territory, so I must ask that girl to leave, or I will have to take drastic measures. Issei knew that none of them would stand a chance against Polaris. She was at the level of Great Red, against them she would be nothing. Rias. But, if you don't want her to get hurt, hand her over so she can be part of my entourage. Issei. I won't, I don't care if you have a whole entourage, there'll be nothing against Polaris. Rias started to get annoyed. Takeda. Come here, beautiful, you'll be better off with me, I'm a dragon king. Isaac. Yes, we are better than that guy, I am a celestial dragon, he will be nothing against us. Polaris. The Dragon King and the Celestial Dragon are those inside you, you have no right to call yourself Dragon King and Celestial Dragon, and I am not your object because I only serve my master. Rias. No more from now on I will be your mistress, Akeno. Akeno launched a lightning bolt at Polaris, which didn't faze her, nor Issei, as the lightning seemed to have no effect on her, which surprised everyone. Polaris then released some of her power, causing a strong pressure that made everyone fall to the ground and made it difficult for them to stand up. Polaris. You'd better calm down, Gremory, because even though I'm a dragon, I won't let any filthy demon like you arrogantly treat me like your slave when I have my own master. Issei and Polaris left the club and everyone stood up, but Rias was really annoyed, but she saw Kaneko who was trembling with fear. Rias. Kaneko. What's wrong? Kaneko. I saw something about them, they have gigantic power, the Moes and the gods will not be able to harm them. Rias and the others were surprised to hear that, but Rias was very upset, as were Takeda and Isaac, who started to remember because they had heard that name and knew that person. Issei was with Polaris in the classroom. Recess ended and Issei and Polaris headed home. The incident in Asia was over, but they hadn't managed to kill the fallen angels. They decided to rest in a park, which was very beautiful at night. But Issei felt like someone had been following them for a while, ever since they left the academy. He wasn't the only one. Polaris felt it too. Then they saw a girl about 14 years old with white hair and blue eyes. But she was actually a half-breed. He sensed both yokai and human energy in her, as well as a very powerful sacred gear. The girl had some wounds, bruises, and scrapes. Issei approached the girl. Issei. Hello, the girl is scared, but when she sees him clearly she calms down. Don't worry, we won't hurt you, you're safe with us, tell me what your name is. The girl, completely embarrassed, replied. My name is Shirakami Fubuki. Issei. Nice to meet you, I'm Issei Shadow, and she's Polaris Shadow. Polaris. It's a pleasure, but tell me, why do you have all those wounds? Shirakami began to cry because of something that seemed to bother Issei, so he touched her forehead with his finger and saw that her parents were beating her for being an abomination. Her father was human, but so was her mother, but in reality, she was raped by a yokai, and that is the reason for her hatred of Shirakami. In addition, she had a sister almost identical to her, but she escaped. Issei. I'm sorry for what happened to you, but you're safe with us now because we'll protect you at all costs. Haha. Protect her? She's a threat to our future plans, just like you too. Issei and Polaris were transported to a pocket dimension. There were 4 fallen angels, 3 women and 1 man. I am Rainer and it is a pleasure to end your lives. If you wish to blame someone, let it be God who placed that sacred gear on you 3. Rainer shot a spear of light at Issei, just like the other 3 did to them. The spears exploded and they thought they were finished off, but… Issei. Seriously? Is that the power of a fallen angel? Everyone sees Issei the same as Polaris, who protected the girl with her dragon wings. Rainer. She's still the same, she's a D-dragon. Honestly. His power is too great, we must end this once and for all. Issei. You know, I'm very busy and also very bored. If you don't mind, I'd better devour you here and now. Out of nowhere the whole place changed into a huge mouth from which 3 tongues immediately appeared and wrapped around Rainer, Donasik and Kalwerner. Issei. I intended to let them live, but when I see their memories, I only see death. They have murdered more than 200 people in CAOS, including innocent children who did nothing wrong. They only do it to climb the ranks. Rainer. So what? Humans are nothing but weaklings. You have no right to judge us. You must be a demon. If you kill us, a new holy war will begin. Issei. What do I care? I can kill you all or simply erase everyone's mind as if you didn't exist. Let your other companion live because in her I see that she let the rest of the people live. Everyone looked at Middled with hatred. Issei. Goodbye forever and remember this before you go to purgatory, I am Issei, the king of chaos, goodbye forever. The tongues dragged the 3 of them inside his mouth where they screamed but it was in vain because they were devoured very quickly and returned to the original dimension. Issei. I see that I obtained the power of the fallen. She takes out her fallen angel wings, there being 28 fallen angel wings, something that shocked Shirakami. Polaris was a little impressed by that. Polaris. Issei-sama, what will we do about this little one in that fall? Middled. I will serve you for the rest of my life, just don't kill me. Issei approached her and hugged her. Issei. Don't worry, you haven't done anything wrong, you'll live with us. Issei lives on a hill that is too big for half of CAOS. Issei. You'll come with us too, Shirakami. We'll find your sister. Shirakami ran to Issei and hugged him, crying with joy. Shirakami. Thank you. Thank you. Issei and company were immediately transported by Issei to his home, the large mansion. Issei revived all the children who were killed by the fallen and built houses for them all, as well as creating an impenetrable barrier so that no enemy could approach his home. But not far from there, a man of about 47 years of age could be seen, with brown hair that looked more like black and a large lock of golden hair. Ah, the king of chaos, this will get very interesting, we will meet someday, angel of death. Shirakami Fubuki appearance. Chapter 3. Issei and Polaris discovered that Shirakami's sacred gear was almost a Longinus type, although not a Longinus it was very powerful, granting him unimaginable strength, an almost dragon-like armor, pure energy cannons, a katana that is capable of cutting everything as if it were nothing, in addition to being able to produce blue flames being his Nekomata part. The children who were killed were happy where they were. They lacked nothing, not food, supplies or anything else, since they even went to school. But Issei changed the memories of the teachers and students to make them believe that they were absent from class because they were sick. The grateful children made paintings for Issei as a token of their appreciation, something that Issei treasured. Polaris trained Shirakami in a time chamber where 1 hour inside is a month so that she could see Issei very often. When she came out, she was at the level of a supreme class demon, having already reached the balance breaker in a short amount of time, making her a rival to a dragon king. The children, having sacred gear, were trained all together at the same time, as if they were martial arts classes. Issei only saw the children's effort to become stronger and protect their home and, of course, their leader, Issei. Issei rarely went to purgatory anymore because his training was more than enough for him. He could destroy the planet with just a single blow, without using much power. But if he used his full power, it would be a different story, since it was sealed away. Issei could also assume his dragon signature, becoming a colossal dragon, but he would only use that when a truly powerful enemy appeared, one who could give him a real fight. But in such a short time, no one was a match for the King of Chaos. Manipulating time, space, matter, and controlling life and death were powers that Chaos and Cath possessed. But more and more Cath Palugs appeared, each stronger than the last, until Issei destroyed them all, and the powers of Chaos flowed into him, becoming his new vessel to become the King of Chaos. But, possessing so much power from the CAOS, he decided it was best to go to purgatory to control all the power that came to him. He trained for over 900 million years within purgatory, where he was able to control all the Chaos power from each Cath. Thanks to this, the armors he possessed evolved and improved, and he became stronger. In purgatory, something changed him because now he had monster strength that surpassed that of any other being that could exist, and skin so resistant that it could withstand the rays of the sun itself and planetary destruction. His magic increased even without having to use his chaos power. He was truly powerful. 2 days had passed and Issei was already with the girls. Middle proved to be loyal to Issei because she warned them why the sacred gear users were being killed and who was ordering them to be killed, Gabriel being a cadre of Gregory with the obsession of creating a new holy war. Polaris trained Middle, and with his help she obtained great power, surpassing a high-class demon and reaching the level of a cadre. Middle obtained 4 pairs of fallen angel wings, and with them she was powerful and could serve her master by her side. Now, having been in purgatory for so long, Issei changed his appearance, remaining the same but with some changes. His eyes turned crimson, and he had a scar where his eyes were, like claw marks. Issei, Polaris, Shirakami, and Middle went to the academy. Shirakami went to the first grade along with Middle. Middle hid her fallen angel aura to avoid raising suspicion, and someone from that grade detected yakai power in Shirakami, and that someone was Kaneko, who had a good sense of smell because she was a Nekomata. He went to warn Rias that there was a yakai, and she thought that she could give him whatever he wanted if he helped her with something that I think you all know very well. Classes started, and Issei and the girls were the center of attention because Issei was now nicknamed the Dark Prince for being kind and dark with men. When they tried to hit him, he would give them a death stare that caused them nightmares, and the worst ones, that even made them scream, something like that. If that kind of shouting was the case, everything went normally until Issei felt that someone was watching them and knew that Rias had sent someone again to recruit Shirakami Oamidled, so they went to confront her and make it clear that they would not join her entourage. When they arrived, Issei opened the door and saw Rias with her entire entourage and her siblings. It was recess time. They felt something familiar about Issei, even though they didn't look alike at all, but it was strange for them because it was as if they had known him for a long time, or so they thought. But Issei knew that sooner or later he would reveal his true identity. Rias, is that the reason for your visit to our club? Issei, don't laugh, I know very well that you've been watching us since we arrived at the academy. You knew very well that the fallen angels were after people with sacred gear and they almost killed my friend Shirakami, whom you've been watching with your tower. Rias and the rest were impressed that he knew who had each piece. Rias, yes, I already knew they were after people with sacred gear, but I couldn't do anything or a new holy war would start. Issei, just killing 4 fallen angels won't start a war, besides, they were renegades, they weren't going to cause a fuss over something so small. You let hundreds of people die like cattle in a corral, and all you care about is their powers, not them. Rias, of course I care, and don't talk to me like that, human. Issei, I may be human, but I won't let you use them as weapons because they are people just like me. Rias, that doesn't matter, Shirakami Fubuki. Do you wish to join my entourage? If you do, you can have everything you desire, as well as great fame. Rias believed she would join in. Isaac and Takeda were only thinking of not so holy things to make Shirakami theirs, but everything was ruined when she said. Shirakami, I'm sorry, but I don't wish to join a retinue like yours. Rias, why? Shirakami, it's obvious at first glance that you're only doing this for my power. That's all you care about, as Issei said, that's what arrogant demons care about. Nikita. You'd better come with us, you'll have everything that loser can't give you. Shirakami. I'm sorry, but I don't wish that. Besides, I feel you've already marked most of us here, except for your king. Rias. I need your help to break off my engagement. If you agree, I'll leave you alone. Issei. She won't fight, but if you wish, I can help you get out of your engagement. Rias was somewhat satisfied, but had plans to get them to join her entourage. Issei. And when is your fiancé arriving? Rias. The large magic circle appears behind everyone and fire comes out of it until you can see a man with golden hair, very luxurious red clothes, and an arrogant smile. Rias. He's arrived. Razor. It's been a long time since I've been to the human world. Issei. Is it him? Rias. Yes. Riaser. It's been so long, my beautiful Rias. Rias. I already told you I'm not going to marry you, Razor. I'm going to choose my own fiancé. Riaser. It won't be possible. The elders and your parents approved the engagement. We have to maintain the pure blood of the demons, or do you want your clan to cease to exist? Rias. I want it to exist, but at least they should respect my decision. Riaser. Haha, that's not going to be possible, and from what I see, you have more new pieces goes to Polaris, middled, Shirakami, and from what I see, you have 3 beauties in your entourage, a pleasure, ladies. Do you want to be part of my harem? Rias. Razor, they are not part of my entourage. Riaser. Really? Even better, since I am superior to you, come with me to where your home will now be. Polaris. And who said you'll be our master? Middled. We only have one, and it's much more powerful than you. Shirakami. And you're older than anyone else, and it's terrifying when he gets angry. Riaser. Ha, he must be someone weak because I am a phoenix, and he will be nothing against me. He was going to touch Polaris's chest, but Issei took his hand. Issei. If I were you, I wouldn't do that in my presence. Riaser. Get out of the way, human. Razor sets his fist on fire and punches Issei in the face, creating a small explosion. When the smoke clears, Issei is seen unharmed. Issei. I'll tell you a curious fact, the phoenix fire doesn't affect me at all, nor do attacks like lightning, destruction, and others, because I am indestructible and you are weak. Issei squeezes his hand so hard that he rips off his entire arm in one swift motion, causing a heart-wrenching scream from Riaser, who was trying to heal his arm, but was going very slowly, until he sees a phoenix appear on Issei's shoulder. Riaser. Is that a phoenix? Issei. That's right. Riaser. What are you doing with something that belongs to us? Issei. You're wrong because this phoenix is my familiar and part of my family. Riaser. Damned human. Riaser runs to strike him, but Polaris intervenes, creating a black ice dagger that heads towards Riaser's neck and heart. Polaris. It's forbidden in demon law to attack a human and forcibly recruit them, or am I mistaken? Wife of the demon king. Grayfia appears. Grayfia. She's not wrong, but how does she know those laws? Polaris. It's a secret that only my master knows. Grayfia sees Issei and feels a kind of discomfort just by looking at him. She could also see a strange monstrous form behind him as if it were a dragon, but it was something worse than that. She felt that he was extremely powerful. Grayfia. The only way to fix all this is in a raiding game between both entourages. Razor. Ha, I won 10 times and you didn't win even once because you have no experience, I on the other hand have my entire entourage. I snap my fingers, and 15 girls appear in a magic circle, being Razor's entourage, but they showed fear and disgust upon seeing their king, something that Issei, Polaris, Middled, and Shirakami noticed. Issei. It's obvious at first glance that they've been mistreated by him, and using my power from Bill, I can see in their memories that he's raped them and cheated in all his games. Razor. This is something you don't have. Razor approaches his queen and kisses her, but she does not reciprocate because she was disgusted by her king, and also because he was touching her chest, and the lack of brightness in her eyes was noticeable. Issei. Well, if it's something about demons, I'll leave. Razor. Are you leaving? You're a cowardly, weak human who can't protect anyone, you're useless. Issei stops and his eyes were covered by his hair, but a slight crimson glow was noticeable, and that was because his eyes turned reptilian red. Issei. Repeat that one more time. Polaris and the other 2 best moved aside. Issei turns around and sees Riaser with his red reptile-like eyes, something that frightens some of them. Issei, repeat that again Razor. With a single touch, I will point to Riaser, a kind of air wave hit everyone, causing the glass to shatter into pieces. Issei. Let's make this simpler, Grayfia, wife of the demon king Sirzechs Gremory, I want to face Riaser Phoenix and his entourage right now, as well as my friends and family. Grayfia. Are you sure? He's a human and he won't be able to fight a demon. Issei. It's best if I keep quiet because in the fight I will prove that I am not just a simple human and my friends will also reveal what they really are. Grayfia. If that's the case, what do you want in return? Issei. I haven't thought about it yet, the fight will be after school here in a replica of the school and it will be shown to the entire underworld. Grayfia. If that's what you want, fine, I'll talk to Mao Lucifer. Razor. You're going to die, human. Issei. We'll see about that, Razor Phoenix, because don't forget I have the Phoenix. The Phoenix on Issei's shoulder glared at Razor with hatred, which frightened Razor, who then retreated in a magic circle. The Phoenix roared with hatred. Issei. Calm down Urza, you and your sisters can do anything you want to Razor Phoenix. Issei and the others leave Rias and her entourage, but Rias was somewhat curious about what Issei would do and why he said he would. After class, Issei put on the clothes he would wear in battle, and of course he looked excellent. Polaris wore her usual maid-like clothes, Middle her gothic lolly clothes, and Shirakami wore schoolgirl-type clothes. Grayfia appeared and took Issei and the girls away, so they could start the fight right away. Issei and the girls appeared in the replica of the school, but without anyone noticing, Issei created a replica of the entire city to make the fight more exciting and demonstrate what he is capable of. Grayfia. Good afternoon everyone. I am Grayfia, the wife of Mao Lucifer, and today a raiding game will begin between Razor Phoenix and a human named Issei Shadow. The demons shouted excitedly at Razor Phoenix while booing Issei, but they didn't care. Grayfia. The rules are clear. You must defeat all your opponents and defeat the king. If you can't defeat him, at least make him surrender. Issei looked at all the girls, and especially Razor, with hatred. Grayfia. Alright, let's begin. Everyone scattered, but Issei's group walked calmly until, with a single clap, the student council or rather, the school was destroyed by the shockwave. It even hit Razor, sending him flying into a house, leaving Razor and the demons confused. The rest were in shock at what Issei had done. Destroying the entire school with just one clap. Demon. Impossible, a human is not capable of doing that. Demon 2. This human is not normal. Sona and her entourage looked at Issei with curiosity, and Sona had a smile on her face because Issei told her that he had the powers of Cath, Bill, and his brothers, but not Bahamut because well, it was too much power and knowledge. Sirzechs was shocked to see what Issei did. Issei. Alright, it's time for you to fight to appear, phoenixes of fire, ice, death, blue fire, apocalypse, and obey your leader. The 5 phoenixes appeared in their adult forms, standing 10 meters tall, which caused some fear in Razor, but terror in everyone else upon seeing the original phoenixes. The Phoenix family was shocked to see the founding phoenixes because it was said that they died, but they were not there alive. Lord Phoenix and Lady Phoenix were shocked to see that someone like him had the founding phoenixes, but they were afraid of the one of death and the apocalypse. Issei. You can run away if you want, Razor. We're in a replica of the entire city. Razor flew off towards the city center, while on the other side, he saw a huge pile of ice spikes erupting from the ground, creating destruction. He already knew it was Polaris's doing. Polaris was launching hundreds of ice beams at Razor's queen, but she tried to dodge the attacks, though it was useless. Then, an ice claw appeared, catching her and pulling her away. Issei also wanted to have some fun, so his finger glowed gold and he fired a giant laser beam that destroyed a small part of the area, but he also focused the beam on the academy, or what was left of it, and it exploded into pieces in a huge blast. Issei also produced 2 pairs of wings of darkness, something that shocked everyone. From the air, he saw everything. The phoenixes were causing destruction, or rather, making Razor's pieces come out of hiding. They did well to do so because the pieces emerged and were caught with their claws. The fire, death, and apocalypse phoenixes were destroying the entire city. To prevent them from hiding or escaping, but well, in the end the buildings were on fire. Issei clapped again behind him, but this time with more intensity, which caused the entire area where the houses and everything else were located to be destroyed and reduced to nothing. Everyone was now afraid of him after seeing what he did because now they knew Razor was dead. Shirakami shot blue fire, a product of her yokai magic, and was faster than an ordinary knight. Her katana skills were spectacular and everyone wanted her in their retinue. Middle then revealed her identity as a fallen angel, which angered everyone, but they were terrified when they saw Middle's wings 8 wings, in fact which horrified them, and Rias was shocked. Middle created a small spear of light and launched it with such force and speed that it ended up destroying part of the city, leaving half intact and the other half engulfed in flames. Rias's pieces were on one side, while Issei destroyed all possibility of escape. Issei. You have done enough for him, now it's time to free you from your chains. When everything is over, I will free you. With a flick of his wrist, Issei created a shockwave that swept everything away and there was no trace of the girls anywhere. Grayfia. All Rias parts are removed. Rias went after Issei to finish him off, but Issei was already expecting it. With a single touch of his finger to Issei's forehead, Rias was sent flying, crashing into a building and becoming embedded in it. But then he heard something else. A rock crashed down on him, splitting the building in two. Rias fell to the ground in agony as he regenerated. He saw Reina, and half of the building collapsed on top of him, creating a huge mess. The other half also collapsed, and Rias stormed out, enraged, intent on killing Issei, who he thought was just toying with him. Rias, damn it. Rias runs and was about to strike when Issei puts his hand on his chest and gathers chaos magic and says, "Issei. Hello and goodbye." The black beam shoots out of Rias' chest, and Issei kicks him in the face, causing him to be launched all the way to Impacera against a building, and Rias had a hole in his chest, the work of Issei. Issei pointed his finger at Razor, indicating the impact point. The phoenixes, the girls, aimed their attacks. The phoenixes fired their fire, but it stopped and began to grow and change color constantly. Middle fired a beam of light, Shirakami her blue yokai fire, Polaris her ice power, and of course, Issei only fired a small shot of a red blast, like the one of destruction, which made the sphere go at maximum speed. Razor, who was emerging from the rubble, seeing the large sphere about to hit him, simply said, "Razor. Damn." Boom. The colossal explosion occurred, devastating everything in its path and leaving the city in ruins. Even though it was a replica, everyone felt fear upon seeing it, even thinking it was worse than their demon king. Grayfia. Razor is eliminated, wins Issei's shadow. Issei leaves the dimension with the girls, and the phoenixes were taken to the mansion. Sirzechs and the phoenix family appear alongside Grayfia. Sirzechs. Since you defeated Razor, you can ask for something. Issei. I wish that Razor's entire entourage was now living with me in the human world. Sirzechs. Do you mean that? Issei. I want them to be free and under my protection because he cheated in every game and also raped them by force. Lord Phoenix. My son is not capable of doing that. Issei. Oh no. Fine, here you go. He throws a crystal ball at them. Issei. It's a sphere that allows you to see anyone's memories. Just put it next to that fried chicken. The parents agreed, and then all of Rias's pieces arrived in front of Issei. Issei. Alright, it's time to begin. Issei created 15 spheres, and all of them entered their bodies at great speed, removing the pieces they had without killing them. It should be said that everyone was surprised that he removed the pieces without killing them because it is something impossible. Issei. And now. He created another 15 spheres, but these had something strange about them. They contained magical artifacts, being sacred gear. Sirzechs. How is it that you have sacred gear? Issei. That's because your sister hasn't done her job properly since she became the owner of CAOS. 500 people have died with sacred gear, the work of the fallen angels. She didn't care about that because she believed that if she killed them, they would start a new holy war. Sirzechs glared at Rias with a furious look upon hearing that, and Rias just glared angrily at Issei. Issei. The sacred gears didn't leave, they came to me not as their vessel but as their guardian, and they have chosen them. Please take these as welcome gifts to the Shadow family. The girls began to cry tears of joy and accepted, so the sacred gears entered them, and they felt stronger than before. All. We are at your service, Issei-sama. Issei just smiled slightly and left with the girls for the human world where they would begin a new life. Sirzechs was on the balcony looking at the stars. Sirzechs. I never thought there was a human capable of such destruction with the replica of the city, in addition to having the 5 phoenixes. Grayfia. Yes, but it's better this way. Rias is no longer engaged, and Razor is traumatized by what happened, and the truth about him has come to light. Sirzechs. What kind of things will happen now? Issei's appearance and his combat clothes. Chapter 4. 3 days have passed since Issei decided to join his family to Razor's former entourage. They were now part demon and part dragon, and they had sacred gear and managed to reach balance breaker in such a short time thanks to Polaris's great training for them. At this moment Issei was talking to Bahamut. Issei. So there are 2 other dragons that are just as strong as you? Bahamut. Yes, they are my brothers, they are a little stronger than me. Issei. But where are they? Bahamut. They are in other places. Another thing, partner, my rival Helios has already awakened. Issei. Do you know if he's on Earth? Bahamut. I don't know for sure since he is hiding his power, and I must say that he is as strong as you or even less, since you increase your power more with each passing second. Issei. Is there any way to make me stronger? Bahamut. Lately, several Cath Palug have appeared and you have killed or devoured them, acquiring their powers, which further increases your power, and it is surprising that your body manages to withstand so much power. Issei. I survived purgatory, that's nothing compared to this. Bahamut. But hey, if more appear it's surely for a reason. Issei. How many have I killed? Bahamut. around 200,000 of them. Issei. My power increased with that, it's amazing. Bahamut. Well, partner, you need to wake up. Issei woke up and changed his clothes to go downstairs for breakfast so he could go to the academy, but he saw in his wardrobe his most powerful sword which he called Destruction, a weapon that he made with his blood, scales, steel, and other materials that would withstand anything. Issei lied to her, placing her in a pocket dimension so that if something happened, he would take her with him. Everyone was already downstairs having breakfast. The children were at home eating peacefully. The Phoenix girls had already enrolled in the academy 2 days prior and had already chosen their familiars. Issei made a deal with the master of familiars, giving him a large bag of gold to allow them to pass and choose their familiars, but none of them caught Issei's attention. Having great power, none were worthy of it. Ravel. Issei-sama, how powerful are you? Issei. I don't know Ravel, I don't currently know what my limit is, but I know that I am superior to any race. It's not that I'm arrogant or anything, but there's nothing that can kill me since, well, I'm indestructible, and even though I'm millions and millions of years old, I'm much older than everyone because I'm eternal and I can't die. Venelana. That's true, but don't you think the factions would consider him a threat for having so much power? Issei. I don't think so, and even if that were the case, I could destroy them with just one movement of my hand. I only care about the human world and little about the supernatural because of things that happened before. Look. Issei-sama, did you have any friends? He had barely finished saying that when Issei was hit with a wave of terrible memories. Hahaha, who would be friends with someone as pathetic as you? You're a perverted pig, I hope you die someday. Have your food, bastard. You'll never be like your brothers because you'll be nothing to them. I don't know why I became friends with someone like you. I'm going to marry Max because he's more of a man than you. Those memories made Issei begin to feel hatred towards that person who said many words to him. Look. Issei-sama. Issei. Sorry, and no, I didn't have a friend. It was a lie because he held a grudge against that person, but despite everything, inside Issei there was a pink seal that represented that girl from before whom he liked and wanted to swear to marry him before she left, but little by little, the seal was turning into a dark black color. Everyone went to the academy, Issei was next to Polaris, but he felt something. Issei. 2 messengers from the church, hahaha, this will be interesting. Issei continued on his way, but when they were about to arrive, he noticed the 2 messengers from the church and 2 other things they were carrying on their backs. Issei. They're on a suicide mission and on top of that they're bringing such weak and fragile weapons that are nothing compared to my weapons. Issei entered the academy, but one of those envoys saw him. This looks familiar, I think I've seen it somewhere before. Then Sona and her queen arrive. After classes, Issei is called by Sona. Issei arrived at the student council where Sona and her entourage were, as well as a blonde boy whom Issei knew perfectly, Saji Genshirao, I don't remember his last name very well, Sona's pawn for carrying a dragon king named Vitra. Sona. Thank you for coming, Issei. Issei. What's the reason for your call, Sona? Saji. I'll speak to him with respect. Issei. Show some silence and sit down, this conversation is between Sona and me. Saji. I am a reincarnated human and the bearer of a dragon king. You are just a human with no power. Issei let out a small sigh, and as soon as he touched Saji with his finger, he shot out like a bullet and crashed into the wall, stuck there with blood coming out of his mouth. Issei. You're weak and you call yourself a dragon, ha, how pathetic. I, on the other hand, have more power, and I'm also a dragon, but I won't say who it is, not for the moment. Now, Sona, what do you wish? Sona. Yes, you see, Issei, as you know, 2 envoys from the church arrived and you are already allied with the supernatural, so I ask you to help in this. I do not wish for a holy war to start because of these swords in the church. Issei. Calm down, Sona, I won't let you start a holy war because I will be the guardian of this world. I won't let anything bad happen to you and your family. Sona. Arigato Issei. Sona had feelings for Issei, as did all of her entourage, since upon meeting him and seeing his fighting and demonstration of concern and desire to protect the people he loves, it made them fall in love with him. In contrast to Saji, he is an arrogant man who has only wanted to seduce girls, even using his pheromones, but for nothing. This is because Issei placed a seal on them a long time ago when he first met them, so that the dragon pheromones would not have any effect on them, thus keeping them safe. Issei. Well, if that's all, then I'll leave. Issei left the student council but ran into Kaneko. Kaneko. Rias-senpai is looking for you. Issei went to Kaneko to see what Rias wanted with him. Rias. Thank you for coming, Issei. Issei. What do you want from me? Another demon. Issei. For your information, exorcist, I am a human. So what do you do with these demons? Issei. That's something that shouldn't concern you. The girl got angry and wanted to go kill him, but Rias spoke. Rias. Don't worry, tell them the reason for the visit from 2 envoys from the Vatican. I am Zenobia IV, and this is my partner Irina Hyoudou. When he said that name, resentment increased in Issei's heart upon learning that Irina was right in front of him and now looked as if nothing had happened. Zenobia. We came here because fragments of Excalibur have been stolen. Since demons hate Excalibur, we want them to not stand in our way. Rias. Do you think we would interfere in their affairs? Zenobia. That's most likely because you are treacherous. Rias was about to explode with anger, but she restrained herself and everything happened as in the original story, only up to where you threaten Asia. When he was about to kill her, Issei stopped the sword with 2 fingers. Issei. Don't you think you're exaggerating a lot? Zenobia. She is a heretic who must die at the hands of one of God's hands. Issei. All I hear is God and God, I don't care about the Vatican and their church envoys, I only care about the human race and some demonic pearls besides. Zenobia. You are mocking our Lord. Issei. Think what you want, but I have a certain hatred for him because he never came to defend me or take me with him, he just left me there and took away my hope that God could save people, but it's not just a farce. Zenobia. Shut up. Zenobia lunged at Issei, but he only gave her a light touch and she was sent flying until she hit the courtyard. Issei jumps through the gap left by Zenobia. Issei. Is this the power of an exorcist? What a disappointment, but I'll show you something better than that simple fake sword. Irina also arrives. Issei pulls his evil sword from a magic circle. Issei. I present to you destruction. Chapter 5. Kiba. Issei, don't get involved in this is my revenge. Issei. Keep quiet or do you want to end up like I did with Razor? Because we didn't even use our full power in the raiding game, so be a good test subject and stay there. Kiba got annoyed because he was called a test subject, but Issei gave him a cold look and Kiba could see a monster shape on his back, which scared him. Zenobia. How come you have so much strength? Issei. That's because I've trained for years in one place. Zenobia. What is that sword? It exudes both sacred and demonic qualities. Issei. This sword is made with the magical power of every fallen angel and demon who died in the world, and I fused them with the sword. The metal is very resistant, so it will be impossible to break it. Zenobia. Did you say angel? Issei. Yes, I am connected to the supernatural, and I can manipulate the magical power of every dead being, even angels. Zenobia. Damn it, unleash their powers and souls. Issei. You don't give me orders, I sent their souls to a better place, I only kept their power because it can be useful to me in some things, besides, they are no match for me in that state. Zenobia. You'll see. Zenobia launched herself at great speed and was in front of Issei, but out of nowhere Zenobia was sent crashing into a tree and cuts appeared on her chest that appeared out of nowhere. Issei. It's incredible that an exorcist who wields a sword that's supposed to be one of the strongest is in this state. She's supposed to have trained to surpass her limits, but that's not the case. You need to train to reach a higher level, just like me, and let me show you some of my power with this sword. Issei closed his eyes, and the sword glowed green until it then emitted black sparkles, something that impressed everyone because the power it gave off was enormous. Issei raised his sword to the sky and brought it down with great speed, launching a stationary slash. The slash was green, 50 meters high, and only 5 meters long. It advanced at great speed, and Zenobia managed to dodge it, but it continued its course until it reached the sea, where it exploded with green lightning that rained down from the sky. Zenobia saw Issei, but heard cracking sounds in the ground and saw that the slash had split an entire mountain, leaving a great chasm. But that didn't stop Zenobia from fighting. She lunged forward and began fighting Issei, who was merely toying with her because she was no match for him. Issei simply parried her attacks with his sword. He turned and elbowed Zenobia, but she managed to avoid being struck. She used her sword as a shield, and as a result, the blade began to crack. Zenobia was impressed, but Issei came again, and Zenobia once more used her sword as a shield. Issei slashed at Zenobia's sword, which gradually shattered until only half remained. He saw that her sword, the sacred sword forged in the church, had been destroyed by another that was neither demonic nor angelic or, rather, almost, because the remaining portion contained only a small part of its power. Issei struck again with his sword until it truly broke. Issei. I thought you were stronger than normal, but you're an easy target with that sword. Gabriel wants the Excaliburs, and with that sword, his plan makes no sense. Be grateful for what I did. You two will die very quickly. Zenobia. We will die in the name of the Lord. Issei. Whatever you say, when you know the truth you'll change your mind. Irina. Which truth? Issei. I won't tell you, all I can say is that with this the future changed, and Gabriel will only seek your sword Hyoudou, I can see the past and future. Everyone was shocked to hear that. Rias. So why don't you join my entourage? Issei. I'm sorry, but no, your pieces wouldn't withstand my full power. Only I can see the past and future. Only I can affect whatever I wish, but I won't use my powers on selfish people. I'll only use them for good. And here, if you wanted your sword so badly. Issei creates Zenovia's sword in his hand, impressing everyone. Zenovia goes and takes it and wanted to fight him again, but Arena stopped her. Arena. Stop, Zenovia, you've seen what he's capable of. He divided almost this entire place with his court. He's on another level that we can't reach. They saw the cut in the earth that was slowly being restored. But Issei. He had arrived home and the children greeted him happily. Issei went to the back of the mansion where he cut his thumb and dropped 13 drops of blood on the ground, and from them magic circles appeared, and from them came 13 figures, 3 of them had angel-like wings that knelt before him. Issei-sama, what are your orders? Issei. Kill every Phill you find, search for Gabriel's location. The 3 angels take out their wings, but one of them had 6 angel wings of a snow-white color, and they fly away at great speed. The other 10 who were there were looking at Issei. Issei. I resurrected them because I want them to fight by my side now and protect all humans. Why did you bring us back? Yes, we must have died when they threw that poison gas at us so as not to leave anyone alive. We were part of that failed experiment. Issei. Failed. I wouldn't say that. They all turn around and see 19 sacred swords of great power, superior to Excalibur. Issei. I created those Excalibur with my power and some fragments, they are more powerful than the original, and you are chosen to wield them and your other companions as well. Behind them appear 9 more who went and hugged their companions who were murdered and used as laboratory rats. They took the Excaliburs, which were identical to the rest, but each with different power. They were happy and agreed to serve Issei by his side. Issei entered the mansion with the children, or rather, almost children. They went to different rooms as they had to prepare for training with Polaris, Calarmine, and Cirrus, who would teach them sword handling and how to achieve balance breaker. Issei modified the room of time, making it 1 hour outside and 1 month inside, so that they could overcome their limits and thus be able to defend themselves without having to ask for Issei's help, but rather relying on each other. The 19 children and their teachers entered the time room. Behind Issei were the 3 angels. Issei. Give your reports. We killed 20 fallen angels, none of them knew Gabriel's location, but he has an army of fallen angels, there are about 100 of them, my lord. One of them told me that Gabriel's goal is to kill the Mo's sisters to start a new holy war, for that reason he also needed the Excaliburs to attract the attention of the exorcists and the Vatican. Issei. I see, get ready tomorrow, the attack begins, it's time to finish off a cadre. The next day Rias and the others were in front of Gabriel with a large number of fallen angels, and apart from them were the Cerberuses, or better known as the Dogs of Hell. Gabriel. With the death of the sisters of the Mo's, I will begin a new holy war. Rias. Curse. Nikita. Damn it, I won't stand idly by while you attack our world. Isaac. Dryag give me increases. Dryag would give him boosts and launch an attack in his balance breaker, but he was still not at 100% after facing the Cerberus and the angels. Little by little they lost hope of winning. Zenovia. Damn it, if we don't do this we won't be angels, our mission would be in vain, and that's why in the name of the Lord, I will finish you off. It's strange that they praise and believe in someone who is already dead. Behind everyone appears none other than Issei in his battle clothes as in the raiding game, but now the red was black, and behind him, he had his sword and beside him appear Polaris, Shirakami and Middled. Zenovia. What do you mean, you bastard? Issei. What I mean is that Elohim is already dead. Everyone was in shock, especially Arena and Zenovia, who refused to believe it. Arena. You're lying. It's just that you're not part of the church, that's why you're lying. Zenovia. We will kill you for lying about the Lord's death. When they launch an attack, a certain group of boys appear whom Kiba recognized, as did Valper. Kiba. And no, it's not possible. Valper. You're supposed to be dead. How is it possible that those children are alive? And if they were talking about the children who were formerly Kiba's friends and died so as not to leave Mecha on loose ends, but the 2 of them felt something different in them, they felt an unimaginable holy power. Child. We will not let you attack my king. He summoned an Excalibur sword, which surprised Arena and Zenovia until the others did the same. The boy kicked Zenovia and she ran out, crashing into a tree. Children. State your orders, Issei-sama. Issei. Kill all the fallen and the Cerberus, it's time for you to see your efforts with the Excalibur. The children nodded their heads, and each was surrounded by an aura somewhere between sacred and draconic. In the blink of an eye, they were no longer where they had been, but were effortlessly fighting the fallen and Cerberus. This shocked Rias and her entourage until the girls who had previously been part of Razor's entourage appeared. But they were strange. They had black, gray, red, and blue streaks in their hair. Even Ravel had red and blue lines, and their eyes had changed. One was blue and the other red. Their powers were greater than before, and that left Rias wanting to recruit them as her pieces, but seeing Sona there left her with doubts, because who was making the barrier? Issei. Before you ask, I put up a barrier stronger than any other. This barrier can withstand up to 100 nuclear explosions at once, and what happens inside doesn't happen outside. Gabriel. No matter who they are, I'll finish them all off. Freed launched an attack, but Ravel appeared with fire in his hands, a fire combined with blue and red fire, forming two swords in his hands. Freed just smiled maniacally and began attacking Ravel relentlessly, but she simply dodged his attacks until she managed to cut his arm, which angered him. Then, blood started flowing from her mouth, which puzzled everyone. They then saw Ravel continue attacking Freed, who was unable to defend himself, until she inflicted a double cut on his chest, then gouged out one of his eyes, and finally severed one of his hands. Freed. Damn bitch. Ravel. This is for all the innocent people you've murdered, you crazy psychopath. Ravel clasped his hands together and created a long, gigantic sword of fire, which, with great speed, fell on top of Freed, creating an explosion and destroying the fake Excalibur. Ravel extinguishes his fire, and there they see Freed cut in half, completely burned, and blue lights emerge from him and head towards Issei. Thank you for freeing us. It is time to return to life in your kingdom. We swear loyalty to you for freeing us from him. They were the souls of everyone Freed killed, and they were grateful for being freed, and Ravel didn't know that. The children had finished off all the fallen in Cerberus. Earl. Ha, they're nothing. Tibba. Friends. They all turned around, but their eyes held only coldness and a hint of hatred. Kid. You call us friends after what you did to someone when they were a child. Tibba. I don't know what you're talking about. Earl. Don't lie, Kibba. We know you used your power to torture a child 10 years ago. Tibba remembered that brown-haired boy and lowered his gaze sadly. Earl 3. They gave us back our lives so we could have a second chance, and our leader is much stronger than all of you combined. Gabriel. That guy is nothing compared to me. Issei. Issei looked at Gabriel with boredom and decided to try the girls, take care of him, and if you do, I'll let you sleep with me. They all become happy and they all say at the same time. Balance breaker. All the girls were illuminated by crimson lights. Gabriel trembled with fear for the first time, and Issei was just happy with his great effort. Chapter 6. The cadre watched in shock, seeing the girls surrounded by armor of various shapes, some wielding powerful weapons. Rias thought, I must have them in my retinue. But Issei, able to read minds, shook his head at Ria's selfishness and foolish dream. He wouldn't allow her to recruit the girls, however, because he had placed a seal on them to prevent anyone from forcibly adding them to their retinue or harem. Each girl charged at Gabriel, who launched many types of attacks with the intention of killing, but it was impossible due to their speed. Ravel launched an attack called Infernal Cursed Bird, a giant fire bird that hit Gabriel in the back and caused a large explosion. Then Kularmin appeared in front of Gabriel before the impact and made a vertical cut in his chest. Nai and Lee had two metal gloves of a pink and blue color and both connected two combo punches to Gabriel's stomach, making him vomit a lot of blood. Gabriel spreads his wings to leave, but Venelana will not allow it. She raised her center, and hundreds of fireballs plummeted down, one of them hitting Gabriel, while the others went in the same direction, causing a powerful explosion. Gabriel struggled to his feet, his armor nearly broken, blood dripping from his mouth and head. Gira and Meru appear from behind and cut off two pairs of wings with their chainsaws, which are longer, creating a heart-rending scream in Gabriel, but it was silenced by a blow to his jaw from Shulin, and then he gives him a flying kick that knocks out 3 teeth in his face. Mehi waited for Gabriel and placed an energy sphere in his face, burning half of it. Then she grabbed him by the feet and slammed him to the ground, launching him at Mira, who had her attack ready in her staff. She connected with the staff, sending Gabriel flying. They continued like this until Polaris kicked him in the chest, sending him straight to his end. Gabriel stopped for some reason. His body felt cold, blood gushing from his mouth. He slowly lowered his gaze until he saw an arm piercing his chest, holding a heart in its hand. He turned and saw that it was Issei. Gabriel, CC como lo. Issei grabs it from the other side and cuts it in half, then sets it on fire, turning it to ashes. Issei. Let's go, we have things to do. Now I can see that your training has paid off. Thus they all gathered at a single point. Rias. Wait. Issei. I will speak with the faction leaders at the faction meeting right here after you have freed your other henchman, Gasper Vladimir, a half-vampire. Rias. How come do you know about him? Issei. That's what I'll say at the meeting. For now, we'll take our leave. Thus Issei created a portal without the need to make a magic circle and left with the girls and children. In the mansion, Issei goes outside and heads to a cave where he increases his power because there are gems from other worlds that fell in that place and increased his power to enormous levels. Issei. Bahamut, where do I rank among the strongest deities? Bahamut. In the top 12 the lowest, but if more Cath Palug and the other 3 arrive you will reach the top 10. Issei. How many versions of them are there? Bahamut. About 100,000. Why? Issei. I'm just asking. Issei wanted to be among the supreme deities, but he still lacked the power he had now. It wasn't enough, he still had a long way to go. The next day was the parents' meeting. Issei was somewhat distracted, but he was thinking about his best friend, not Irina, but someone else, Charlotte, a girl with white hair and blue eyes. He knew that his friend would be at the faction meeting, so he wanted to impress her with his great power. Issei was in his classroom making clay figures with his classmates, and he saw his former parents taking pictures of his siblings, but he didn't care. Takeda made a figure of himself and next to him his girls. Isaac had his armor and Rias was by his side, Issei had her armor, but Issei's was better because he was standing holding the multiverse in his hand, next to the great deities kneeling before him as their king, but Issei also had his dragon wings. The professor was fascinated and so was everyone else, but the brothers were somewhat annoyed because he was getting everyone's attention because of that simple figure. Issei was about to leave, but someone stopped him and he turned around and only saw Sirzechs. Sirzechs. Excuse me, my sister told me that you saved everyone from Gabriel yesterday and also that you know about Gasper. Is that true? Issei. Yes. Sirzechs. Are you a member of the Chaos Brigade? Issei. What? No, how could you think I would ally myself with the enemy? After all, I seek peace for all, but my greatest concern is for humans because they deserve to be protected and if you dare to kill them or enslave them, Issei's eyes turned blood red and slanted like a cat's, I will kill them all. Chapter 7. Issei was sitting on his throne or something like that until he felt he had to go somewhere for a favor from an annoying crow that had been watching him for a long time. He also wanted to see if his friend would be there so he could be with her. Issei put on his battle suit, took his swords and put them on his back, his companions and the children put on their battle suits. Ravel also wanted to go since if her master was going to the meeting, they should also be there since they were also the ones who defeated Gabriel, but the one who did kill him forever was her master and Lord of Chaos. Behind him was a huge group of beings who had weapons that were both sacred and demonic for some strange reason, but they had a gigantic magical power that surpassed a faction leader or 5 leaders together at their maximum power. Issei. Let's go. Our academy meeting of the 3 factions 7:40 p.m. Everyone was waiting for Azazel's guest, who was sitting carelessly with his feet on the table. The other leaders were waiting somewhat impatiently, and the 3 Hyoudou brothers were losing patience when Takeda decided to speak. Takeda. What time will your special guest arrive? Azazel. Don't worry, Takeda, he will come, but I'm telling you to behave properly since he is truly powerful, so much so that neither I nor we can defeat him. Sirzechs. Yes, from what we saw in the fight and also with what happened with Gabriel, it seemed that he was holding back. Michael. But I'd also like to know why it had a sacred part. If it's not an angel or something. Sirzechs. Grayfia, you better go after them. Grayfia. Yes. Azazel. Wait. But it was too late because Grayfia was gone. Sirzechs. Why do you worry so much? Azazel. The thing is, if that boy enters his house, he will kill them with a single movement of his hand or a single step and she is in grave danger. Sirzechs. What? I just hope Grayfia is alright. It's fine or so it seems. Everyone sees the door open very loudly and out come Issei and the girls, even the children. Issei was holding Grayfia in his arms like a princess and had multiple wounds. Sirzechs. Grayfia. Issei. It's fine, he just ran into my family who are territorial with any being. Serafal. What kind of family do you have? Issei. For the Ziz bird, the Hydra, the world serpent, and the brother of Fenrir. Everyone was genuinely scared, having the most feared creatures in the entire supernatural world, but the serpent of the world was something else entirely, even worse. Issei. The wounds will heal, just like that little life form that is already inside her and is slowly growing. Sirzechs. What do you mean? Issei. She's pregnant and you're the father. Sirzechs was delighted with such news until Rias, but someone suddenly darts out, but Issei stops that sword and it turns out to be Kiba. Issei. What's gotten into you now? Kiba. You bastard. What did you do to my friends? Issei. I didn't do anything to them, I revived them, but they joined me of their own free will. Kiba. I don't believe you release them from your metal control now. But he saw that 4 girls took out the Excalibur and put it to Kiba's neck, feeling a great burning sensation like never before, and that those Excalibur were truly dangerous. Girl. We joined Issei-sama of our own free will, he doesn't control us or anything, and that's another reason why you're no longer our friend Kiba, because you got out of control very quickly. Issei. Leave the conversation for later, for now it's time to start the meeting of the 3 factions once and for all. Isaac. Hey, you should speak to them with respect. He was going to hit him or continue talking, but Issei stood in front of him, and his shadow was so large that even his eyes shone crimson, something that frightened him. Issei. You're nobody to give me orders, you're inferior to me, and you know it, you're not strong, you think you're strong because you carry a dragon, but you're nothing, now sit down, or I'll take you to purgatory. Isaac got annoyed and had no choice but to go sit down. Issei saw that they were going to be behind Michael next to a very pretty blonde girl, but next to her was someone with a hood that prevented them from seeing their face. Searches. Well, it's time to begin. Rias, please pass on the report. Rias showed me the fight and the reason why Gabriel wanted to invite a new holy war, something that did bother Azazel in some way, but even more so Issei, since he was not fulfilling his role as leader. Searches. Well, do you have anything to do with this, Azazel? Azazel. No, he acted on his own, although it's incredible that your soul boy killed Gabriel and your girls managed to reach the balance breaker in such a short time. Issei. I trained them to surpass their limits and not depend so much on me. Michael. But why don't you tell us your real name? Issei. I didn't want to do it because it's all private, but in due time I will tell the truth and I will also be able to tell you how I obtained this immense power. Everyone agreed except for certain people. Isaac voted for peace so he could be with the girls as hex objects, but Vali also agreed to peace so she could fight strong beings, and his sister just wanted to live in peace. Valerie's appearance. Issei sensed a great power within her, superior to that of his brother, but he still didn't know how to handle it properly. Issei felt he was being watched, so he counted and saw Gabriel, the strongest seraph. Issei. Tell me, why haven't you taken your eyes off me? Gabriel. For some time now I have seen evil and power in your heart in perfect balance, but I also sense a part of your power that is something draconic, demonic, and sacred. Issei. That's because of my power, because I'm on another level. Isaac. You're probably a weakling like those silly kids. Ravel moves at top speed and grabs Isaac by the neck, lifting her into the air, impressing many with her great speed, and with her other hand, she creates a sword of fire. Ravel. Insult Issei-sama again and you'll know the consequences, you useless reincarnated demon. Ravel lets go of Isaac and slaps him with fire. Ravel returns to her position, and Issei creates a dome around Sona and Tsubaki, missing them both. But out of nowhere everything turns purple, and all the soldiers are frozen by something or someone. Issei knew something like this would happen, so he was well prepared for everything. He sees hundreds of rogue mages and demons emerging from outside. All because of whom? None other than. Hello, fake mass. Searches. Which Leviathan? Chapter 8. The Terrio Leviathan had attacked the faction meeting with a somewhat small army, but it was giving Ria's entourage problems since the soldiers were frozen and they had Gasper and Kaneko as hostages. Gasper, having his sacred gear to control or stop time, was somewhat complicated, but not for Issei, because, well, he also had the ability to control time. Kateria. It's a pleasure to see you fake mass. Serafal. Kateria-chan Porke. Kateria, because you took what was rightfully mine, you are nothing more than. But it was shot out by Issei's fist, who was already fed up with so much commotion. Issei. You know, I'm fed up with you guys from the Chaos Brigade, and that's why I've been attacking your bases for years, and so far I've destroyed 100 of them around the world. Searches. 100. There are more. Issei. They are all over the planet, but my soldiers took care of a few. Kateria emerges from the rubble, very upset. Kateria. How dare you strike a descendant of the Leviathan? Issei. I'm fed up with you, Polaris, take care of her appear, my daughters. From the sky appear hundreds of armors, some golden and some black, with great sacred and demonic power, angel wings, but these wings were large and very beautiful, that they even impressed Michael, Gabriel, Irina, Zenobia, Asia and the other exorcist. They were all women between the ages of 14 and 19, with a beauty that surpassed Gabriel's. Their bodies weren't as developed as those of the 14 to 15-year-olds, who had bodies like Tomo and Ruruko, as well as Kaneko's, and others like Momo and Rias. Some had blonde, black, brown, red, blue, or green hair, ranging from short to long. All of them knelt before Issei and 7 other very beautiful angels, but 2 were extremely powerful. One was short like Kaneko, with snow-white hair, crimson eyes, a white dress, 2 swords in her hands, 1 large white angel wing and the other black. The other angel had 4 gigantic wings and a somewhat strange dress, but she was stronger. Issei. My son. All. Father, give your orders. Issei. Kill all the rogue mages and demons you find, don't leave any alive. I'll take care of their leader. All. Yes. So they all went off to fight while the 7 stayed behind. Issei. You kill those in the occult club and bring Rias, Gremory's Rook and Bishop Iris and Canade. Iris the one with the large wings and Canade the one with 2 wings. Iris Canade. Si Padre. Issei. You guys take care of the leaders, I'll go and kill your leader. Ambas. Yes. Issei walks to the destroyed wall and takes out 2 pairs of dragon wings, but with details like angel wings. Azazel. Haha, who would have thought the angel of death and the apocalypse was this strong and would have an army of angels? Michael. Yes, but if they are angels they should be in heaven. Iris. You're wrong about that. Gabriel. Why? They are angels. They should be in heaven with our brothers and sisters. That's why, Father, I created them. Canade. No, Issei-sama created us with his chaos and dragon power. We are his daughters. If we abandon our king, he will take away our powers and kill us, or he will just leave us as mere humans. We can only leave with his permission. Otherwise, you know what will happen. Irina. What's this about King of Chaos? Canade. Her power is chaos. The more daughters she creates, the stronger she becomes and the more likely she is to destroy the entire world or even the whole universe. Everyone was impressed and Canade and Iris took out their wings, but now they had dragon tails and horns appeared on their heads or scales on their arms as proof that they were telling the truth. Michael and Gabriel were shocked that those angels were stronger than them and were both jealous and sad to think that they were their sisters, but not Issei's daughters, but still Irina thought she knew that boy who looked at Kateria because Issei was a name she would never forget, just like the other exorcist. Issei looked at Kateria. Issei. Well, tell me, why are you doing this? Kateria. Why else? To reclaim what is rightfully ours, but we will not stop until we have taken over the entire human world. Humans are our slaves. They are the ones we must trample and walk all over. We will not let ourselves be trampled. Issei. And you really think I'll let them do that? No, and I'm fed up with you, so die now. Issei created a sword and moved at top speed, a speed no one could see, and pierced Kateria's heart, killing her instantly. Issei pulled the sword from Kateria's heart and then, using the fire of purgatory, burned her body and soul, because Issei could see how many people died because of her, and countless blue orbs the souls that had been in her hands went to Issei. Issei. I have created new bodies for you, I hope you enjoy returning to life after so many years and days of suffering. The souls went at top speed to Issei's city, or rather, the small city, since it was growing with each child or soul that had been revived, and they had built houses and other things, so that they could live there in peace. Issei sighed and out of nowhere a fist with white armor hit his cheek, but he neither moved nor felt anything from that blow. Issei. I knew that sooner or later you would show your true colors, didn't you, Vali? Vali. I see you're strong, and that's what I admire about the strongest, unlike the Sekiryuutei who's quite weak. Issei looked at his brother with his armor all broken and Asia healing his battle wounds. Issei. I have to come to an agreement with you. He's weak, I know that, but I never imagined you'd sell him out with just 3 blows, especially since we're family. Everyone downstairs didn't understand what he meant. Asia. Family, what are you talking about? Issei. No, don't tell me you. Issei. That's right, it's me, Issei. Isaac. Who the hell are you? Issei. It's only been about 10 years since I left because of their torture, and they've already forgotten how bad they are, huh brothers? Nikita. It can't be. Are you? Issei. Yes, it's me, Issei Hyoudou, the 4th son of the Hyoudou family, the king of chaos, the dragon of the apocalypse, the angel of death and the apocalypse. Everyone was in shock. Irina was crying tears of joy, and so was the other exorcist. Sona was happy because the boy she'd been in love with all this time was him. He'd always been right under her nose and she hadn't noticed. Now he was someone powerful and she didn't stand a chance against him. Isaac. You're lying. You can't be that weakling. Rias. If that's true, you're just someone who happens to have that name, and if so, why didn't you go back to your useless home? But Rias fell because she had 2 swords at her neck from Canade, who was angry. Canade. One word and I'll cut your throat, you disgusting damn demon. Canade left and stood next to her sisters who were watching their father. Issei. It's me, and even though it's been over 1 billion years or like 10 trillion more or less, it's still a pleasure to see you all again, although I hoped that in this time that I was gone something would progress, but I was wrong. Nikita. Shut up. Issei. Sit down and be quiet. Nikita fell to the ground and sat down, and I thought it best to keep quiet. Ali. Hahaha, I didn't expect that one of the Hyoudou family was the one who killed Gabriel and defeated Rias or Phoenix so easily. Issei. Yeah, I can beat you too. Ollie. Hahaha, don't do that to me. But the touch of his finger on the chest of the armor, Issei was launched forward until he crashed into the academy. Sona fainted because they were destroying the academy. Volley emerged completely injured, blood pouring from his mouth, and his armor was completely destroyed. Ollie. How did he make me cause this with just a touch of his finger? Albion. Wally, retire, you're no match for this guy. Issei. It's true, you're no match for me because I already have my rival, and I'm waiting for their arrival, but I see it will take some time, so I'll have some fun with you, how about that? Issei grabs Volley by the foot and throws him at high speed towards a tree, but before he hits it, Issei kicks him in the back and sends him flying into the sky, then elbows him in the chest and charges a tiny sphere and throws it at the speed of light, causing a huge explosion that destroys many parts. Volley falls to the ground badly injured, with large burns and blood pouring out. Issei arrives and kicks him in the stomach. Issei. It's incredible that you, a descendant of Lucifer, were defeated by someone like me when I only used strength and a touch of magic, but you're no match for me. As I said, there's only one. And that's me. The sky suddenly opened and out came a white and blue armor with large dragon-like wings of a strong blue color. Everyone knew it wasn't someone who was Volley, and he was also in shock because it was almost like his armor, but gave off a great power. Issei. I didn't expect Helios to choose someone worthy of fighting properly, it's a pleasure to meet you Lila, the demigoddess of life and death. She was a very beautiful girl with white hair and blue eyes, and she had a smile on her face when she saw her rival. Lila. Bahamut certainly chose his bearer well. Issei. Yes, but now is not the time to talk, but to fight as we should, like dragon gods of death and life dark. Dragon God Balance Breaker. The black armor with red gems manifested and it gave off an evil aura, and thus the battle between the dragon of death and the dragon of life would begin. Tell me names for the children who were formerly Kiba's classmates. Until next time. New Theory, the Supreme Infinite Deity of Chaos. Chapter 9. Issei watched his rival with some excitement, wearing his armor. Both were ready, and at a speed that no one else could see, they were clashing fists with great fury, exchanging ferocious blows. Issei kicked him in the hip and it didn't crack the armor. Issei. You are strong, but let's see if you can withstand this dark omega shoot. A sphere the size of a 10-story building hurtled straight towards her. She put up both hands, trying to break her fall, but Issei's power was greater, and the sphere exploded, shattering the shield. Luckily, Issei created a copy of the city in a pocket dimension. The explosion was so incredibly powerful that it even destroyed all the mountains. Lila emerged from the fireball, her armor slightly damaged. She was smiling, but the smile vanished when Issei stood before her and delivered a powerful blow to her helmet, sending her crashing through a building and plummeting down, destroying everything around her. Issei. You're powerful. Helios chose his wielder well, but we'll see who wins. Life or death, destruction or salvation. This needs to be intensified to 10% of my base power, and from what I see, she's using 40% of her base power. She is quite strong, but not as strong as me. Issei and Lila shot out like rockets and continued fighting, launching powerful attacks. The spectators were shocked to see a battle between two beings of great power, but the brothers were upset to see that their useless brother was at a higher level. The Issei. Issei Toma Infinity Shoot. Hundreds of thousands of black and white sphere attacks came out of Issei's back, and all of them went towards Lila who flew through the city dodging all the attacks. Lila. Damn it, I have no other choice but to use that here, take the Sun Destroyer. A beam shot out of a cannon that appeared on his left arm and destroyed all the attacks, and hit Issei as a filler. The explosion was strong, but Issei came out with some scratches on his armor. Lila. How so? Issei. Ha. You think I didn't know about your power as a demigoddess? I've worked for billions of years perfecting this armor. It's made of the most powerful metal in the entire multiverse, nothing can damage it. Lila didn't pay any attention to it and hardened her armor as well. Lila. Take this to Imperious Shoot Universal. Hundreds of beams shoot out from Lila towards Issei, who thought he would destroy them with just a wave of his hand, but no, because these attacks were different and hit him, leaving him with his armor half damaged. Issei. Hahaha, this is the first time my armor has cracked, but you should know there's no way to kill me, because I'm immortal. Your attacks only tickle me. Survive this. Dark Omega Blaster. A gigantic beam of black, white and red shot out from the mouth of the armor the size of a 20-story building and was about to reach Lila, but she. Lila. Universal Empire Cosmic Blaster. Another blue beam shot out of Lila's central gem and collided with Issei's beam, causing a clash of powers and forming a gigantic sphere that increased in size. Lila's beam gained ground, but Issei's was gradually gaining ground. Issei. I'm prepared for everything. Dark flames of purgatory. Flames erupted from the other gems like rays that swirled around the largest one and joined together in a single attack, gaining more and more ground until the sphere impacted the city, destroying it completely and causing a powerful massive explosion that left nothing but fire everywhere, causing fear in the leaders. Issei. I'm getting bored. It's time to play seriously like the dragon gods we are. Lila emerges from the smoke with her armor broken and regenerates very quickly. She looks at Issei from inside and blood is coming out of her head. Lila. Damn, he's quite powerful. I'm using 100% of my base power and with that, I can destroy around 10,000 universes or even more with my best attack and he managed to hold me off. He's no ordinary person. Bahamut definitely chose someone of great power. Issei. Wow, he made me use 50% of my base power and with that I would be able to destroy 100,000 universes. Without a doubt, death and destruction always win, and for that reason, I am the most powerful wielder, or rather, the dark dragon god in history. Lila and Issei charged at each other, their fists colliding to create a wave of wind that destroyed the remaining buildings. Issei grabbed Lila's foot and threw her, but she was quicker. She gathered magic in her right fist and struck his helmet with a powerful blow, only cracking it. It immediately healed, and Issei headbutted her, shattering the helmet. He then placed a black sphere on his chest, which exploded, creating a whip of lightning that bound Lila's feet and spun her around at top speed. He released her, and she crashed into a mountain, which collapsed from the impact, along with several others. Lila. Shit. Cosmic devastation. The white beam shot out in the direction of Issei, who received the attack and continued until it seemed to do some damage, but then he used both hands and created the beam into a red sphere. Issei. I'll return it to you, universal destruction. The beam was much larger than the previous one and she managed to evade that deadly attack, but Issei, at the speed of light, punched her in the stomach and she took advantage to give him a spinning kick to the back and then break his armor to stick a stake from his armor into him. Issei didn't scream or anything and turned around to see that piece of metal that was his and was stuck in his left eye and he just took it and removed it and in just an instant he regenerated. Issei. Did you really think my own creation would hurt me? You're wrong, it doesn't affect me. Lila was somewhat furious because she couldn't kill him or make him surrender. That step would cause him to unleash his full power and endanger all existing universes and dimensions. Lila. Damn it, he has infinite regeneration at the speed of light and with that I won't be able to do anything. At this rate, he'll make me use 10% of my power. If I want to beat him, I'll use that to stop him. They both stared at each other again and at maximum speed their fists collided, but Lila's armor fist broke and Issei took advantage of this to deliver a hook that sent her to the ground. Issei. Here are my gifts, Infinity Shoot. Hundreds of attacks rained down on Lila as she emerged from the rubble when that shower of lightning struck her and caused huge explosions. Lila flies into the air and delivers a powerful blow to Issei's helmet. He merely smiled and kicked her in the back of the neck, hoping to knock her out, but she dodged the kick and struck Issei in the chest. He returned the blow with twice the force, causing his armor to shatter completely. Issei lands on the ground and gathers all the negative energy of the planet and the universe to use it at some point, but he sees how the central gem of Lila's armor fell to the ground and was in perfect condition. Issei. Bahamut, is it possible to merge life with death? Bahamut. No, but with your immense power you can do it and if you succeed you will have even more power than before and that will be enough to defeat her. Issei. That sounds good to me. Issei touched his armor and next to the red gem there was a space missing and if he did it and put the blue gem with the evil one, they would fuse into one and create something new and powerful that not even Lila will be able to defeat. Lila. What do you intend to do? Issei. I'm going to take your power so I can fuse the gem of creation with the gem of destruction. Helios. You're crazy. Bahamut and I aren't compatible. You'll only die trying. Bahamut. Don't underestimate him, Helios. Though he may not seem so, he is truly powerful and surpassed his limits to become what he is now, and this is nothing compared to what he had to endure. Issei placed the gem in the missing spot and both gems spun and merged, causing Issei to scream in pain and fire a blue and red beam into the sky. The blue color gradually merged with the red energy until the armor underwent changes. The red gems were now a mix of red and blue, new metal horns emerged, and the wings were larger, his power greater. Issei. Ha 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 ha, didn't you say we weren't compatible? Helios. Impossible. Issei. That doesn't matter, let's fight like the gods we are. Issei went out to fight Lila, but she fired many attacks just in case, though none of them affected him. His armor was incredibly tough and his skin was too, because he was only using his own strength, which was barely human. If he had used his dragon power, he would have won without any problem. But that wasn't what Issei wanted. He wanted to have fun with her, playing this way, making her believe it was his full dragon power. Issei grabbed her by the mechanical tail and threw her to the ground with supernatural force, creating a powerful shockwave of dust that extinguished everything around it and even caused a very strong earthquake from the force of the fall. Issei swooped down and delivered a powerful blow to her stomach, shattering her armor and causing her to bleed profusely. The armor reassembled itself, but without any mercy, Issei relentlessly rained blow after blow until he grabbed her wings and fired a dark shot that sent her crashing into a mountain. Issei went at top speed, but Lila was already expecting him and gave him a strong blow in the center of the gem, causing it to break. But he didn't expect the gem to restore itself and shoot out high-frequency sound waves that made her scream in pain, but Issei just grabbed her legs and slammed her back into the city. Issei. I'm tired of fighting so much, I think it's time to show who's the strongest. But Lila arrived and gave him a hammer kick that sent him crashing to the ground. Lila was on top of a building trying to catch her breath after the battle and the beating Issei gave her and she thought she had defeated him, but… Issei. That's enough. This ends now. Dark Multiversal Dragon God Chaos Destroyer Emperor. Blaster Omega. Before the attack, his weapons disappeared and he raised his left hand where a black, white and red sphere began to form along with blue and from there he fired a gigantic dark ray that went towards Lila. Lila knew that ray would destroy the entire world if she didn't do something. She created 2 cannons in her shoulder pads and said the following. Lila. Dragon Omega Universal Imperious Blaster. A pinkish beam shot in the opposite direction, creating a clash of powers. Issei was flying, firing his beam, while Lila, on the building, tried to withstand it as best she could. But it seemed that Issei's attack was gaining ground because it was increasing in size with each passing moment. Lila. Are you aware that you will destroy not only the city but the entire planet and all its people? Issei. I am aware of them and I don't care, I can revive them whenever I want, but I have only created a pocket dimension across the entire planet. What happens in here doesn't happen outside. Issei intensified the beam even more, thus making Lila retreat. Lila. I won't let you win, I've worked hard for years to be able to defeat evil. Issei. Well, you were missing more because I have surpassed my limits and I have surpassed everyone here, so evil will win, the apocalypse, death, chaos always wins. Issei then gave more power to Lila, who did her best to resist, but it was useless. Hers was pulverized and the gigantic sphere with a beam took Lila to the ground and she screamed trying to stop the attack, but it was in vain because when it hit the ground, everything lit up and then the light disappeared. Sirzechs. What happened? Azazel, could someone explain to me that? Until a huge and powerful explosion, over 4,000 meters high and 9,000 meters wide, was created throughout Kuoh. The factions and retinues rose to the sky on their wings, watching as everything disappeared. The shockwave was so powerful that everything was disappearing. Cities, oceans, mountains, everything vanished due to the force of the explosion until the shockwave covered the entire planet with fire. Issei picked up Lila, who was unconscious, and rose up. With a snap, the pocket dimension disappeared, revealing that it was night. It was now proven that there was no one in the world who could stand up to Issei because the Helios bearer was defeated, which meant that Bahamut won after so many years by having his best bearer. Issei. As I said, destruction and chaos always win, that's why I am the king of chaos and the dragon god of darkness. His armor disappeared and he was still wearing his battle suit. Issei. Well, it's time for me to go with the others. Chapter 10. The faction leaders were terrified by the devastating power Issei unleashed across the planet, but he was holding back because otherwise he would destroy not only the world, but also 1,000 trillion universes. Issei was capable of destroying that attack, but it wasn't his strongest. He had another one up his sleeve in case something happened. He would use his full power when necessary because, for the moment, he couldn't use it and besides, the battle was quite tough for Lila. He was unconscious and wouldn't wake up. The brothers were furious that the useless one was outshining them in power because they believed the power he possessed was his, not theirs. But if Issei gave them the power of chaos and the others, they would die instantly. Helios chose worthy wielders and none of them had ever lost to Bahamut, but now, after millions of years, someone had surpassed his best wielder and was now the most powerful dark dragon god in history. Issei only used a quarter of his dragon power, while the rest was strength he gained in purgatory over millions of years. Lara surpassed his limits and became the most powerful being in all of existence, but he still had a long way to go because he would have to surpass more deities who were above him, with Anti-Spiral being one of them. Issei landed in the room with everyone else, his daughters watching their father from below. Issei. Are they going to say something? Sirzechs. I heard of you, you are a pure demon, you were born into the Hyoudou family, and they did not have such great power, they had knowledge of all the powers that their clan had, but not something like yours, we analyzed your blood with the help of Ajuka, and you did not have sacred gear or magical reserves at such great levels. Issei. That's because I trained in purgatory, and also because some beings from other universes gave me their powers so I could do what I want. My goal is to become stronger and protect the human race. I hardly trust demons anymore, except for Sona and her entourage, as well as Riser's old entourage. The others know. I asked them for help so they could at least support me in being able to fight without powers, but it was the same. They ignored me, told me I would never amount to anything, just a piece of shit, and all because of the laws you allowed on the council. Don't help demons with magic or sacred gear because power is everything. And now you see what happened today. I'm superior to you, and you're not even capable of handling my power. Serafal. But that means you still belong to the demons, therefore the council will betroth you to my sister. Issei. Why Sona? Sona. Well, years ago, Issei, one of the demon council members, arranged my engagement to you. He didn't care about the power others might have. He only cared about their happiness. But when I found out you left, that old man told me he would still honor the engagement until you returned. Issei. Does that mean you're my future wife? Sona. Yes. Issei approaches Sona and hugs her. Issei. Well, I'll make you happy. I don't care who wants to hurt you. I won't let anyone hurt you, Sona. Sona was very happy, as were her other pieces, who saw this as a magic circle. But someone wasn't happy, and that was Saji, who had planned to confess to Sona. If she didn't accept, he would release his dragon pheromones and grape her until her spirits broke and she became his hex slave. Isaac. Damn it, that area must be mine. Issei. Women are not toys, so you better disappear from my sight before my daughters destroy you. All the angels behind Issei drew their swords ready to attack, and Isaac kept quiet and backed away because he knew he was no match for all of them at once. Irina. Issei-kun, is that you? Issei looks at her and recognizes who she is. Issei. It's been so long since you treated me like trash, Hyoudou, and you still have the nerve to talk to me like that when you know what you did to me when we were kids. Irina starts to cry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. Please let's go back to being the friends we were before. Issei. I'm sorry, but you broke our friendship, and now when I see you, I only feel pity and hatred for all the torture you and they inflicted on me. Issei-chan. Issei turns around and sees that the hooded figure begins to shed tears, missing Issei, but she removes her hood, and when she sees who it was, she just smiles happily. Issei. Charlotte. Charlotte, the girl who had sworn to marry Issei when she grew up, was now a young lady, with loose white hair, blue eyes, and a not very developed body, but she was cute. Charlotte. I'm glad to see you again, Issei-chan. Issei. Just like you. Irina felt her heart break because she knew Charlotte as her stepsister, and she was known as the ruthless killer, feared by all the rogue exorcists. She didn't kill families who renounced the Vatican, but let them live, and threatened her superiors that if they didn't change the rules, her next target would be their families. Nikita. Hey, you useless idiot, we're giving that dragon away. She should be with someone better than you. Issei. It won't be possible because we supreme gods have rules. If a male dragon melts a female in battle, the female will become the male dragon's wife. These are rules that cannot be broken, and you are not at her level. She can easily defeat you. Nikita was furious, but let it go since he had plans. Issei, along with his daughters and the girls, went home to rest after a short battle, but for Issei, it was spectacular because it proved he was superior to everyone, especially those arrogant ones who were formerly his brothers. Clarifications. Nikita and Isaac will gain more power over time through training, but they won't reach Issei's level. Issei will travel to different worlds where he will gain more power. I was thinking of putting him in H or NTR, Netter, worlds, but I'll do it in another theory. The Hyoudou brothers will obtain the support of 20 wires, gods, yokai, and fallen angels, even the elders of the council. Chapter 11. After the faction meeting, Issei was at home with the others talking and other things, but he was in the hot springs he had, thinking about his power and other things. Issei. Bahamut, is there any way to increase my power 20 times? Bahamut. Yes, partner, but for that you must absorb all the Cath Palug and bills that exist in each universe, and since you control me and my power to open different portals, you can go to purgatory so that you can bring the 900,000 Cath Palug and the rest of the bills, wills, and fills that are there. Issei. I'll have to talk to the girls about this so they don't worry. Can you alter the timeline in purgatory? Bahamut. If how many years? Issei. Let it be 100 quadrillion years inside and only 1 hour outside. Issei leaves the hot springs and goes straight to change into his combat gear to enter purgatory. When he finishes, he leaves his room and goes downstairs where he sees all the girls talking. When he tells them about his plan to increase his power and ensure nothing bad happens to them, they have no choice but to agree, since they know his other versions wouldn't be a threat to him because he controls all the power of chaos and the others. Issei opens the door to purgatory and enters, and then the door closes by itself. Once inside, Issei closed his eyes and summoned all the Cath Palug, Bill, Whill and Phill to purgatory. They all looked at Issei with a hunger for him, but he drew his sword. Issei. Come at me and let's finish this. They all charged at Issei, and he assumed a strange stance, lowering his sword to the ground, holding it tightly, and then raising it with great force and speed, unleashing a slash that flew toward them all. Outside. 19 hours had passed, but Issei still hadn't come out. 24 hours passed, but still nothing. Sona was worried about her fiancé, and he didn't come out that day either, nor the next day. The week passed, and when Sunday came, the door opened. Issei came out of purgatory, but now he looked different. His hair had grown longer, and his muscles had grown a little, like Meliodas. Issei exuded an overwhelming and powerful energy. Sona runs to Issei and hugs him. Sona. You idiot, I'm so worried about you. Issei. I'm sorry Sona, 10 trillion years have passed inside. They all nearly fainted upon hearing that their future partner was much older, but counting the first years he spent in purgatory when he obtained his powers, it would be about 10 trillion, 100 billion years in total, making him the oldest being. He was also the strongest, having already surpassed Oswald Iagid, Wang Ling and Anti-Spiral, or at least by a little. He wanted to secure his place among the supreme deities. He had seen many multiverses of himself, but he encountered one that truly frightened him, a world where he was the strongest and also sought the throne, but the first throne. Issei erased that memory because if he told them, he feared that someone would come looking for him to kill him. Issei had reached powers beyond and had finally fused everyone's powers into one, so he could copy any type of sacred gear, magic power, attacks or even DNA. He would make them evolve and become stronger, so inside purgatory, he put a copy of the sacred gear of the booster gear only without drag, and this could make the armor appear with twice the power as him, but black with blue, red, black and purple, even yellow gems. Now Issei went to his room because Sona would help him with his haircut and almost beard. Sona. It's incredible that after so many billions of years you haven't aged a bit. Issei. Well, what can I say? I use the power of chaos to prevent my aging. Besides, I bring life and death, which means that the more they tear my body apart, the stronger and more violent I become. Sona. But what can be done about you, Issei-kun? Issei. Wow, what a way to talk to your fiancé. Sona blushes, so she lowers her head and kisses her future husband on the cheek. Issei. That's better, I'm sorry I left you alone. Sona gets a little sad but turns around and sits on Issei's lap staring at him. Sona. At first I was very sad because you left, I looked for you for many years, but no one could find you, but now we can be together. Issei and Sona slowly approached each other until they shared their first kiss as a couple. But at the door stood all the girls from the Sitri clan and Issei's family, including his 7 daughters. Haruko. I wanted a kiss from Issei-senpai. Momo. Leave her alone, Haruko-chan. Sona-sama has searched for him for years and finally found him, and now she's happy. Tomo. But aren't you jealous, Momo, because you said you liked Issei when he arrived at the academy? Saji. I'm glad Sona is happy with Issei. Tsubaki. We shouldn't ruin their moment. Inside. Issei and Sona separate and she puts her head on Issei's chest while he strokes her hair. Sona. Issei, can I ask you a favor? Issei. Yes. What do you want? Sona. I want you to train my entourage to surpass their limits like you did while in purgatory. Issei. Well, if they unlock their hidden abilities, they'll become stronger, as strong as a supreme class demon or stronger, but it won't be a pleasant training experience. Still, are you willing to risk your entourage? Sona. Yes. The next day, Issei stood before Sona's entourage, who were somewhat nervous because Sona had told them that the training Issei would give them wouldn't be so pleasant. Layla was watching everything from the window, sitting close to it, looking at Issei with a slight smile, and remembering how he humiliated her, despite her being a goddess and the guardian of Helios, the famous dragon of creation. Helios? Don't be like that, partner. He's stronger. I must admit, I was even shocked that Bahamut chose someone stronger than you, using almost all of your power. Layla. Yes, but I wasn't strong enough to face him. Helios. I don't blame you, he's on another level we'll never reach. He trained for millions of years in purgatory, just like my parents trained in the same place. Layla. Talk about your parents. Where are they? Helios. Well, my parents are the deities of deities. They are the ones above all of us, and they are the ones in charge of creating versions of us and of different deities that exist throughout the multiverse, and that is why. Layla. Helios. What's wrong? Helios. It's nothing, what is this? Someone in a different ultraverse has been chosen by the great deities, and my father, even my brother, no, that means the other two I sensed were almost like him, and that means a war is about to break out to prove who is worthy of sitting on the supreme throne and being crowned as the supreme god. So there are others like me, but they're somewhat weak, and from what I see, one of them is getting stronger, but still not strong enough to challenge me. This is interesting, the power of chaos and Bill, huh? It's good that I killed the remaining 100 million of Bill and his brothers and the rest, but I still have a long way to go, someday we'll meet again. Chapter 12. Issei trained Sona's entourage to help them surpass their limits and become less dependent on their king. Saji, for one, already possessed all the Vitra fragments because Issei had sought them out, copied them, and given them to the young Raruko, Momo, and their king, Sona. They managed to achieve balance breaker in such a short time and become stronger than before. It might be hell for them, but they had to do it if they wanted to become stronger and defeat any threat that might come. Issei, for his part, saw that his training was paying off. Saji could face a high-class and supreme demon. Sona reached her balance breaker by being blue with blue gems and her tentacles of water and very hard metal with terrifying spikes. Haruko's armor was a little small but flexible enough to move well, but in reality, her armor was so hard that it seemed inflexible. Tsubaki, she surpassed her sacred gear, making the mirror that could previously only reflect a single attack, manifest more than 200 and launch them with triple the power, and that's despite having a somewhat revealing outfit that looked good on her. Issei was currently resting on a rock, ready to get into the hot springs at his house, and since they had finished their training, Sona was coming in to spend time with her fiancé, but she noticed a red dragon drawing on his back. Sona was wearing a towel and underneath, well, nothing but her naked body. Sona. Issei-kun. Issei turns around and sees his fiancé. Issei. Hey, it's you, Sona. You can join in if you want. Sona. Thank you. Sona enters and stands next to Issei, who is enjoying the water, but also next to his partner. Sona approached him, but Issei reacted and pulled her towards him and hugged her, which she reciprocated. Sona. Thank you for helping us overcome our limits. Issei. You're welcome, you know very well that I'll do anything for my fiancé. Sona. During the holidays we're going to the underworld for a meeting for young demons, and since you're now my fiancé, you must go. Issei. Do your parents agree to the engagement? Sona lowers her head. No, they want to make me betrothed to Takeda. Issei. But you're unhappy, he already has Rias and his girls, why does he want more? Sona. I don't know, but we can figure it out in a gamer rating. Issei. Don't worry about that, you and the others will be able to fight well. They are nothing compared to you and them. Sona. Issei, there's something I don't understand, why did you create a figure of yourself and surround yourself with beings I don't recognize, yet they were kneeling before you? Issei. You see, Sona, I am destined to fight against beings of great power and proclaim myself the deity of chaos or the king of chaos. 13 beings are destined to fight for the supreme throne, but 5 are the strongest, and I am in the top 6, being a little stronger than the rest, but more and more deities like me are being born. Sona. So there are more like you, but there are 13 of them, and 5 are the strongest. Issei. Yes, they will fight for the throne, and whoever defeats them all will be the supreme king who is above all universes, multiverses, ultraverses and megaverses. Sona. Yes, but what if one of us is the strongest of the 5? Issei, we would know that, we who are the… Issei began to breathe heavily and was trembling with fear. Sona. Issei, what's wrong? Issei. Another one was born, another deity, and this one is much stronger than before, and this one has the power of the 3 dragons of judgment and the apocalypse. Sona. What kind of dragons are those? Issei. They are the strongest, they are the brothers of the 2 primordial dragons, they are known as Zero, Bahamut and Black, the 3 primordial celestial evil dragon gods of destruction and the void. I see that your brothers chose someone like me, similar but different, but I am not like you. Everything happened and I met him. I will merge with him because there cannot be 14 deities. I just hope he doesn't hold a grudge against Sona and the others. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching, if you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day, bye.